Howdy! So this is a video that had a script so stupid that I just never released the video. I just buried it away in shame. It's just so monumentally dumb, and I possibly got dumber just by making it. But for completionist's sake, I wanted to make the video anyway. So let's get this train wreck a-rolling. Howdy! Did you ever wonder what dangerous materials you'd never eat taste like? No, of course you wouldn't. Morbid curiosity is the only reason you wouldn't be immediately unsubscribing and hooting at me in the streets. Yes, of course you've wondered. Who hasn't wanted to lean down on the pavement and lick a thick smear of filth off the street? Who wouldn't wonder what gunpowder tastes like? While not trying these myself, obviously, because some of these are very dangerous, if not deadly, to ingest, I've discovered that people have actually taste tested all of these. So let's find out, what do dangerous substances you would never eat taste like?
Hey Josh.
The person watching doesn't need to hear that, they already know. They're not stupid. Fine, I'll tell them anyway. So, obvious disclaimer, never ever ever try any of these at home. You still there? Well, thank you. Well, let's check out how these taste. Never do this. Gunpowder. Over the years, this was bound to happen. Maybe military personnel idly licked their hands while preparing explosives. Maybe someone intentionally tried it, I don't know. But when that person went to lick their hands, they would have first taken in a sharp, metallic, smoky aroma. Like sulfur, gunpowder's smell is reminiscent of burnt chemicals. As they licked it, they get a punch of an intensely bitter taste. According to sources, the taste is reminiscent of rotting eggs and burning chemicals. If you've ever smelled the residue of a fired gun, it's that same sharp metallic bite. Ugh, sounds ghastly. Perhaps the safest way to taste anything close to this would be gunpowder tea. The Chinese invented gunpowder in the 800s, somewhere close to the Tang Dynasty. Gunpowder has been part of Chinese culture for centuries, so they developed a green tea for it. Obviously, it's not actual gunpowder, but it is reminiscent of gunpowder and it certainly looks like gunpowder. And it has that same smoky smell and bitterness to the taste.
Why, you crazy doggone idiot! What you trying to do, blow us to smithereens? No!
Next up, licking the pavement or the road. So let's say a person stops, leans down, and gives the pavement a warm kiss, just to make sure the road feels special.
Your sense of appropriate public behavior leaves a lot to be desired.
What taste do they typically report? Well, normally, they're hit by an overwhelming mixture of bitterness and saltiness. People also report a gritty and dusty texture. Since a road, aka asphalt, is made of crushed stone, oil, and tar, it's often reported to taste deeply chalky, bitter, and chemical. This bitterness on the road is mostly due to car exhaust residue and motor oils. Sounds lovely. After they've tasted the road, some people report their tongue having a dry, muddy mouthfeel. Moving on. Next up is the taste of fertilizer. You've seen it on the ground, you've seen it piled up in gardens. Have you ever wondered though, what does that taste like?
Stop it. Get some help.
You probably smelled it from a distance too. A synthetic lab fertilizer can often have a faint and earthy smell. The same with mature organic compost. Emphasis on mature compost. The taste of fertilizer is actually pretty easy to find out, as many people who are new to hydroponic plants can often get too excessive with applying fertilizer. So provided they're using chemical fertilizer and not going el naturel, synthetic fertilizer often has a strong, musty taste, very salty and bitter. When people taste it on produce, it's often described as metallic, bitter, or poisony. As someone who's eaten a lot of apples, I've tasted fertilizer on there before, and it certainly can have that strong metallic taste to it. Fun fact, fertilizer's taste has actually led scientists to discover we as humans have a sixth taste sense. It's called ammonium. According to Yale Scientific, this ammonium compound is often found in fertilizers and batteries. That distinct, pungent taste is speculated to be an evolutionary signal that steered ancient humans away from harmful substances, so our species doesn't get poisoned and killed. But if you do have a bit on your produce, don't stress, it's not going to hurt you. Next up, we have El Naturel Animal Fertilizer.
Oh, hell no.
You probably already know how natural fertilizer is made. Animals make it, all of us make it. Manure. What's that? This is the stupidest question you never asked? I know, this is why I never made this stupid video. Moving on. Either intentionally or by accident, I hope neither of us ever try this ourselves. And remember, always wash your hands carefully after handling animal manure of any kind. Ideally wear gloves. Oh boy, it can smell overwhelmingly pungent. So yes, we do have reports of what El Naturel tastes like. A person tasting this particular thing is likely going to be first hit by an intense pungent taste that is very similar to its smell. Because when you're smelling something, you're actually very slightly tasting it. Once the taster has lamented the maddening terror their life has become, the person might then notice a strong bitter taste along with that overwhelming pungent taste that is very similar to its smell. Some also report a mustiness and earthy taste. In animal you-know-what, the reason for that mustiness and planty aftertaste is likely due to animals often having undigested plant matter in their remnants, such as grass or hay. And you know what? I've already dedicated half a script page to telling you how manure tastes. I think we're good. Let's move on. Next up, the taste of blood.
Oh, give the lad a glass of blood and we'll drink a toast to the family.
Blood!
This is a bit better than what we had before. Short one here. You ever bitten your tongue? You know what blood tastes like. Salty tends to be the first thing I notice, but some people also report that blood has a metallic taste to it. Why the metallic taste? Well, blood has hemoglobin. Hemoglobin has iron in it for fueling your body. Some people even report a slight sweetness to blood. This is because blood contains nutrients like glucose, basically sugar. I hope the only time you ever taste blood is when you accidentally bite your tongue, which does happen. And even then, I hope that doesn't happen to you because biting your tongue hurts a lot. Moving on.
No use crying over spilt blood, eh?
No, of course not.
And how does mud and dirt taste?
That's nasty.
Well, this one's a little less intense than blood or manure, honestly, but I still wouldn't recommend licking the soil. If you've ever fallen face first in the grass or dirt, you may have accidentally sampled the taste of ground. And I'm a trail runner, I definitely have many times. At first, I tried checking with Reddit on the taste, and they were their usual contrarian selves. When someone asked what dirt tastes like, the continual answer they got was, "It tastes like dirt." That's what you sound like, Reddit. It's what you sound like. Use your words, Reddit. Describe. Google AI is so stupidly obsessed with you. Use that 86 billion neuron marvel between your ears. We got slightly better answers on Quora. Unfortunately, some people have what's known as pica. A couple of people mentioned they like the way dirt dries in their mouth. Ugh. The most detailed dirt tasting came from Bioneers. As we can see here, the Bioneers had a dirt tasting festival.
We've got soils from various regions in the UK.
According to them, some farmers in the past were trained to taste fertility in the soil. Environmental consultant Katie tasted a number of samples of the ground.
This is in fact the first ever dirt tasting event in the UK, and after a bit of encouragement, the hand-picked guests plucked up the courage to get mucky.
After each taste of dirt, they sampled food from the farms where the dirt came from. They get some soil and stir a little water in it in their wine glasses. Well, ain't that a cheap way to entertain? Why have soda when you can have dirt? How'd it taste overall? Well, our environmental expert Katie said it tasted like storm of thunder. So like water? Other sources said dirt has a strong sour, chalky and musty flavor. And I definitely remember that musty flavor when I've fallen face first into the dirt. Mud is basically wet dirt, but with a more thick, plastic-like paste. You've probably stepped in mud before. It often takes on a more sludgy-like texture. It may be more sludgy, but it's basically just a taste of wet dirt. But some do report mud has that dreaded metallic taste as well. Some also detect a quote-unquote rain flavor in the mud, and this typically comes from what's called geosmin. You might also detect this geosmin rain flavor in mushrooms or beets. Anyway, that is probably all you ever need to know in your entire life on the taste of mud. Is there anything else you want to know on the mud? No, I didn't think so. So what's to be made of this sad mistake of a video? Well, never ever taste this stuff, obviously. But also, curiosity itself is nothing to be ashamed of. It is among, if not the most powerful fundamental human traits we have. And that curiosity has led to continual scientific advancement and human exploration. Even if that question is just that, what does the ground taste like? At least now we can safely satiate that thirst for knowledge of what the ground tastes like. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have as pleasant a day as possible. So I legit wasn't sure for this video. Should I be doing Patron credits and fortune readings for like the worst video concept I've ever made? Is that like an insult to patrons? But I wanted to make sure my patrons know I never take their support for granted, so I'll thank them as always. Anna Jones, both the past and the future are beyond our reach. It is the present you must grasp. Both the past and the future are beyond our reach. It's the present you must grasp. Phoenix Star YT, it takes a fool to do the same thing again and again with the hopes of a different result. Some call it the definition of insanity too. John Bondi, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Angel Angeline, those who love you will come back to you even if you let them go. Glitter Wolf, courage is being completely paralyzed with fear and taking the first step anyway. Free Cat Day, change your thoughts and you change the world. Pixel Puppy, stumbling and falling are still done by moving forward. Casey and Dalton, Casey, our fears are a treasure house of self-knowledge if we explore them. It's so true. Dalton, it is not the answer that enlightens, but the question. Very similar quote to your mum. The Furry of Fury, wisdom lies not in the answer you give, but in the question you ask. Miss Arceus, let your dreams, not your nightmares, define who you are. Joseph Bowers, what you are aware of, you are in control of. Jordan McCann, keeping distance from an ignorant person is the equivalent to keeping company with a wise person. Megan Bruns, there are people who make no mistakes because they never wish to do anything worth doing. The Hug Wizard, most of the world's biggest problems are because somebody is trying to find a simple answer. Oh, that is so true. Satin Yoshi, this is a strange one I don't fully understand. The wound is the place where the light enters you. And I get it, do you? Erdassin, a person is rich in proportion to the number of things they can afford to leave alone. Joe Ferry, when we have alternatives, we compromise instead of commit. Mewtwo Shadow FNAF Girl, don't slay dragons that aren't in your way. Check it Omega, it's unfortunate that this happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened and I've remained unharmed. Kelly Bisson, the price of discipline is always less than the pain of regret. Oh wow, that's good. And of course, Neil Speed, the more control you have over your attention, the more control you have over your future. Oh wow, that's good. Until next time, look after.